More to come.
And don't you know, those that they are hanging on to have got to be some of the most disturbing shit we have ever seen in our lives, because the stuff that's come out, I'm pretty shock proof, has been so shocking from, like the first law firm that bent the knee to Trump. Well, who's in the Epstein files? And you start to see all of the perimeter of the people around this fascist regime. Everybody's in freaking Epstein files. And so not only
she was subpoenaed, she didn't show up, and the committee chairman didn't do a single thing about it.
Accountability. There's also Wall Street Journal reporting that Trump has said anybody who's within 200 feet of the Oval is going to get a pardon. And if the Democrats win, I just feel like there's going to be a real appetite towards accountability for these people that have protected pedophiles, that have stolen taxpayer money for themselves and their families. The criming that we see and the corruption has just become normal. It's just like this normal day in America now. And I'm very worried about that. So speak to the Pam Bondi situation, because
3 million documents are still missing. And the people who know what's inside them, they're not talking. Not because they have nothing to say, but because what's in those files could bring down names that the most powerful machine in Washington has spent years protecting. Pam Bondi is the Attorney General of the United States. She controls the Department of Justice. She controls what gets released, what gets buried, and what never sees daylight. And right now, she is sitting on the largest tranche of unreleased Epstein documents in American history. A bipartisan subpoena was issued. Democrats forced it through. Republicans had to sign on. And still, she ghosted Congress. No appearance.
Our colleagues across the aisle are A-okay with corruption because their base is still okay with corruption. So when we think about how do we get our country to the next point safely, with our democracy, with equity and justice intact, we have a cultural issue that we have to address before we address the political issue. One led to the other. If what came first, the chicken or the eggs, the culture preceded the politics, but they shape each other. And that's why Republicans feel that this is okay to move this way. It's why they feel that they are able to be blatantly just anti-democratic, anti-constitutional, anti-black, anti-brown, anti-woman, anti-queer, anti-immigrant. Right?
They're such babies. God.
No explanation. No accountability. That's not a coincidence. That's a strategy.
Make sure that people are not slipping into those gaps anymore. Bondi isn't coming today because James Comer is a coward. Because James Comer has not decided whether he is the chairman of this committee or Donald Trump is the chairman of this committee. And until he, finds his courage, he's going to continue to let Donald Trump run over him. They're all doing this. They have all ceded their ground as a co-equal branch of government. But let me tell you something. As gleefully.
Here's what you need to understand about why this moment is different. The House Oversight Committee, the body with the constitutional power to demand answers, has members who are done playing quiet. Congresswoman Summer Lee, one of the most vocal voices on that committee, said it plainly. Accountability has no statute of limitations. They have more people subpoenaed, more witnesses in line, 3 million documents still legally owed to Congress.
Went into the contempt hearings or filing the contempt for Bill and Hillary Clinton. We shall be as not gleeful because we don't take joy in accountability, though we do believe it's our responsibility. We will take up the responsibility of holding these people accountable that they were not willing to. We have indicated that we are willing to hold accountable whoever is a part of this just heinous, the most prolific sex trafficking ring in our nation.
Under the Epstein Files Transparency Act, 3 million documents. And here's what should make your blood run cold. The files that have already come out, the ones that were supposed to be the sanitized version, they were shocking enough to floor people who thought they'd seen everything. Investigators, journalists, lawmakers who considered themselves unshockable, rattled. So ask yourself, what's in the rest? Because here's where it gets darker. Shortly after several major law firms capitulated to Trump administration pressure, publicly, visibly bending the knee, journalists started cross-referencing names. And the pattern that emerged kept pointing in the same direction. The Epstein network, the same perimeter, the same circle of protection. And at the center of that circle, the exact people now positioned to control what gets released and what disappears forever. Bondi didn't skip that subpoena because she was busy. She skipped it because someone calculated that James Comer, the committee chairman, wouldn't enforce it. And so far, that calculation has been correct. Comer has not acted. The contempt process has stalled. And every day that passes is another day that witnesses coordinate, documents age, and the public's attention gets redirected to the next crisis. But the survivors haven't moved. The families haven't moved.
History outside of chattel enslavement. We have decided oversight Dems will talk to anybody. We will hold anybody accountable. And that accountability does not have a statute of limitations. So if Comer is willing to, cower and wait, then we will be there to do what's right for the survivors. Not just the survivors of Epstein, but the survivors of sexual abuse, sexual trafficking, of political corruption, because these folks are survivors of each of those things. We'll still be there ready to do this. And that's why it's so important that we protect the subpoena power of the Oversight Committee. So whether it's Pam Bondi or Donald Trump or anybody in between, accountability will come.
And the Democrats on that Oversight Committee have said publicly,
right, we will be there to hold them. We will be there to make sure that there's responsibility here, that there's some justice here. And that's not going to be easy. And that's why this Epstein case has been unique. It has been important because it has shown the point where all Americans have reached, their line in the sand. All Americans, Democrats, Republicans, Independents, all of them have said, this is too much. We will not let go of this thing. Donald Trump expected them to let go. Pam Bondi expected them to let go. But we are not going to let go. We're not taking our foot off, the gas or necks right now.
They will be there, ready, the moment the political winds shift. The moment a majority returns, the first order of business won't be celebration. It'll be accountability. Subpoenas with teeth.
We already got a bipartisan subpoena for Pam Bondi. So she's not responding to a subpoena that Democrats forced alone. We needed Republicans to bring her in. And it will be with that bipartisan support that she gets drug in here or she gets held in contempt. We will need the outside pressure to make sure that we're still bringing in the right people to talk to. And we have more folks in line that we have subpoenaed that are coming into our committee, that there'll be more pressure to make sure that the DOJ, whoever, whether it is, who is it, Lee Zeldin or whoever unqualified person Trump brings in to run this, that they still recognize that the subpoena and the Epstein Files Transparency Act are both still in full effect. They are legal and binding, and they owe us 3 more million documents.
Contempt hearings. Every name, every document, every meeting that was never supposed to see the light. There's a Wall Street Journal report suggesting Trump has signaled pardons for anyone.
I want to have you on.
And that's how we build discipline and resiliency in our movements. Yeah. When you think about everything that this nation has accomplished, it did not start with your elected officials, though it should, right? It absolutely should. And it is not to say that there were not elected officials in those spaces ready to push, ready to kick, ready to scream. But real true progress has come from the grassroots every single time. So right now, it is our responsibility as Americans, as progressives, as revolutionaries, whatever it may be, to be disciplined.
Within 200 feet of the Oval Office. If that's true, and it may be, then what we're watching isn't obstruction. It's a controlled demolition, a deliberate collapse of the investigation timeline before the next Congress can touch it. The question nobody in mainstream media is asking loudly enough is this: if there's nothing to hide, why does protecting these files require this much firepower? What does it take for a government to look its own citizens in the eye and say the truth matters, even when the truth is about them? And if those 3 million documents surface, who walks free and who finally faces justice?
And that is what a true democracy is. So right now, we've gotten this far in the Epstein files because of that discipline, that resilience, the resiliency of the survivors and the solidarity of the American population to support them has lifted this here. And I think that is going to carry us forward because their spirit of seeking justice is still there, right? They're still waiting for what they deserve. With dignity, they're still demanding it and they're still pushing for it. And they're not back.
Subscribe to Starscope Daily because this story is far from over and we're not letting go.